Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today guys, we're going to be diving down into the charts to take a look at what's been going on most recently here with XRP. Now as I get into this video, if you do find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you are going to be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done and out of the way, let's jump right down into the charts here and take a look at XRP and see what I think is likely to happen next. Now, as you can see, we're paired up with USDT. We're on the hourly chart, and Binance is the data source here. So obviously, after yesterday, we plotted this out. We obviously reached the low points. Kind of as indicated here, the support level of 77.9, and that's obviously held up really well. We've moved up now a little bit, and we actually have a completed move here now. And for the most part, this is looking quite encouraging on several different levels. So I'm going to want to break this down a little bit for you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to first of all jump us down into the 15-minute chart, because this move is a little bit more complex. Following the patterns of Bitcoin, essentially. We need to acknowledge that there is potentially an impulsive break here, and obviously what that means slightly longer term with some kind of corrective pattern also forming. We actually had what would appear to be a double top there, which is interesting. So first things first, we obviously have wave 1, wave 2, and I think this is wave 4 with a wave 3 high, wave 4, and a final fifth wave actually created that double top just there, which is unusual. You don't normally see that, but it is a sub wave count on a bigger move anyway. So I'm expecting some kind of volatility that doesn't necessarily align to perfect Elliott wave theory, and specifically when markets are not as liquid as the Dow Jones, for example. But inside here, and the reason that I say that's a third wave is we also have the 5 sub waves, right? So you can dive down even deeper every time, and you can kind of see all of the various subwaves. So for the most part, I think that's kind of the right way of looking at that. And after this, we actually have A, B, and C corrective move, which would always be followed by that impulsive break. So that's good. And then here we've got a really encouraging move. So on this 15-minute chart, we can see that we're starting to get a little bit of traction here, but I think this is a deeper corrective move. And it's not necessarily very clear unless I expand this out a little bit. But basically, I think this is additionally a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? So essentially, you've had a 5-wave count, you've got a 3-wave count, a 5-wave count, and I think this is, again, an additional A, B, will come down into a deeper C wave corrective move. And then after that, I would be looking at, again, an additional kind of impulsive move upwards, right? So just to kind of break that down on the smaller time frame, it's a little bit easier to kind of see the various moves when they're all kind of congested together on the hourly chart. It gets a little bit difficult to see, right? But all of this on this hourly chart, you could articulate it slightly differently, right? Because you can't necessarily see all the sub wave counts. But inside here, you'd have an A, a B, and a C, and that in itself is not anything special. So if we were to go ahead and transpose that, you can see that we went up a little bit, we overextended, but we haven't hit the 1.618, the minimum requirement to make this an impulsive move upwards. So alternatively, this in the middle here might actually come up and extend slightly later on, and actually make this an impulsive move. This is what I would expect to see. Okay, so in order for that to happen, we would need to see this current move higher than the original high point that we've had. So the current price needs to move up without dropping down lower. Okay, so we cannot drop down lower than 80.7. And it needs to move higher than 82.3. If it does that, and the stochastic RSI comes back to the overbought area, essentially that allows us to move towards our 1.618 target and be a valid wave count going further forward, meaning that effectively what this would be an impulsive breakout. So you'd end up with wave 1, wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and eventually a fifth wave going higher, right? Too soon to really know about that, but something that we need to be tracking and keeping an eye on, because as we said before, right, if we hop up into our daily, our target is up here on this trend line. And before we start to see big corrective patterns, right? So this would be, $1.04, for example, right? Something I've been talking about for the last few days, weeks, I don't know how long. So essentially that's the kind of the target. Now it's possible that we actually find really heavy resistance right there on the dollar, right? Because we do have this level of support and resistance previously. So it's possible that we fall short of our target and we just hit this level of resistance and we fall back down. Okay, so when we're thinking about this impulsive break, that's really the target. It's not doing anything overly impressive right now, but it's very, very possible that it does turn really impulsive at a later stage, right? So we want to kind of keep an eye on that. If this is all inside of a wave 1, for example, it's possible that you have something that looks like this as a wave 1 with a deeper wave 2, and then that final kind of push with wave 3, a wave 4, and then that final 5th wave is the one that actually takes us out towards that $1 threshold, for example, is one way to potentially take a look at it. So I think we're quite a way off yet on all of that, but something that I think is well worth kind of noting, right? Our target is there, but we are also expecting to see some kind of flash crash afterwards, right? Because when we take a look at the weekly stochastic RSI, this is far too high, which is indicating to us that we're heading into the overbought area on a really large time frame. Ultimately, this is going to indicate a big move to the downside, okay? And, you know, for that, we've targeted out some pretty low points of around the 60, 55 cents, somewhere in there. So essentially, you know, potentially going to lose, if we do hit the dollar, you know, lose 40% of your value, essentially, right? And so it's important that we understand that, because there's going to be huge opportunities to ride this up, sell it high, buy it back cheaper. Alternatively, if you're just going to hodl, there's going to be a fantastic buying opportunity to be had in the near future, I do think. So ultimately, yeah, it's looking pretty good and progressive. Obviously, I have this really low. I don't think it's actually going to go down to 48.8, but it is a possibility. So I've marked it up there, but I don't think it's actually going to go down that low. So back to the hourly chart. When we start to think about, you know, what's going on here with XRP, short-term corrective move right now. The 4-hourly chart is overbought, the 8-hourly chart is overbought, the daily chart is overbought. So we are looking for some kind of short-term corrective move, but we can, of course, be overbought for a little bit of time to finish the impulsive break. And once that is done, look for a deeper corrective move on the smaller time frames, and then, you know, continue to kind of set the motion of an upward trend. Now, what if I do is I'll send this up into a 4-hourly chart. You can see it's very, very messy. So I'm going to just turn all of that off for a second here. So you get an idea, you know, of what progress is currently being made. And from the low points that we've had, we've actually been progressively moving on up, right, setting these higher lows on that journey. But there's also been, you know, a bit of a descending trend here. Now we broke out of it once already, and we're still breaking out of it right now, which is good. And if we think about where these next sets of resistances are likely to be found, you know, you're right up here at that 84 cent, 85 cent range, right, 86 cents. So we are expecting to find some kind of resistance. That's probably going to be the turning point overall, where we start to see, you know, XRP maybe pull back down again. What we want to ideally keep is going to be the you know, this trend line to the downside. Let me actually just go ahead and delete everything off of here for a second. So essentially what we've got is this trend line, right? If we were able to keep this trend line and we just come down and retest it, and, you know, that's enough of a correction to see this rally continue, that would be the ideal situation to be in here for XRP. So guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you are going to be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.